Welcome back, everybody, to night 78 of coverage of the war in Ukraine. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado. And again, thank you so much for choosing independent media and Mercado Media as your source for the war in Ukraine. We're going to be talking about Sweden is applying to join NATO. They're joining Finland. Again, those two countries were in a non-military alliance with each other since the end of World War II. And now both countries are applying to join NATO. We're going to be going into Russia's response to this, and we have video to go through. We have plenty of combat footage to go through as the Ukrainian soldiers have completely taken back the Kharkiv Oblast. So we're going to be going into some video of that. We're going to be going through the map. We're going to be going through everything, all the latest in the war. Again, please like the video if you guys haven't. Make sure you're following the page, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for choosing Mercado Media as your source, and we'll be back after this short intro. All right, everybody, welcome back again to another night of coverage of the war in Ukraine. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado, and again, thank you for choosing Mercado Media as your source of the news updates. Just like the video, again, follow the page. The stream should be good. Facebook has issues, I guess, at this time. I streamed all day to both Facebook and YouTube and had no issues, whatsoever, and now it's like Facebook just has problems. Can't solve it, can't figure it out. I literally streamed the entire trial to Facebook and YouTube, so it shouldn't have a problem. I'm hoping that it does fix itself. But let's get started here. You guys can follow along in the description of the video. If you would like, just click overview or the description on YouTube. Norway and Denmark and Iceland give security guarantees to Sweden and Finland. The Scandinavian countries stand ready to assist their Nordic neighbors should they be victim of aggression before obtaining NATO membership, Norway's Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre said. Swedish government approves applying for NATO membership. Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson formally announced on May 16th, effectively putting an end to 200 years of neutrality. Again, that's 200 years of neutrality, and that they're joining NATO. As a result of a missile strike by Russian troops in the Odessa region, a 6-year-old girl was seriously wounded. An investigation has been launched, the Office of the Prosecutor General of Ukraine reported. U.S. believes that Russia and Ukraine are increasingly exchanging artillery fire in the Donbas, per senior U.S. defense official. Putin military drills will be held in the autumn. The military exercises will be held in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, in the framework of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, a Russian-led military bloc, Russian dictator Vladimir Putin said on May 16th. Russia claims the ceasefire deal was reached to evacuate Ukrainian wounded soldiers from Mariupol. Russia's defense ministry said they would be evacuated to a hospital in the Russian-occupied city of Novoazovsk in the Donetsk Oblast. Ukraine didn't confirm Russia's claim, and sending Ukrainian soldiers to Russian-occupied areas could put their life at risk, as they may be captured or killed. More than 1,000 Ukrainian troops, including 600 wounded soldiers, are trapped at Mariupol's Azovstal steel plant. From the governor, Russian troops blew up an ammunition nitrate warehouse in the Kharkiv Oblast. The explosion does not threaten the local population, Donetsk Oblast Governor Pavlo Korolenko said on May 16th. Russian troops attempt to break through the Ukrainian border into Sumy Oblast. Russian troops used mortars, grenade launchers, machine guns, and assault rifles while sending a group of saboteurs to the region on the morning of May 16th, the state border guard said. The border guards managed to repel the attack. Bloomberg, Germany to stop Russian oil imports by the end of the 2022 regardless of EU sanctions. Germany's efforts to make an agreement with alternative suppliers are progressing, and the government is confident it can solve logistical problems within 6 to 7 months. Bloomberg. Oh, I lost my spot. Oh, lost my spot. Come back. Oh, Facebook. Come on. I'm going to read that again. I'm going to read that whole paragraph again. From Bloomberg. Germany to stop Russian oil imports by the end of 2022 regardless of EU sanctions. Germany's efforts to make an agreement with alternative suppliers are progressing, and the government is confident it can solve logistical problems within 6 to 7 months. From Bloomberg. Ukraine signs a $100 million loan agreement with Japan. On May 16th, France Minister Serhiy Marchenko and the President of Japan International Cooperation Agency, Akiko Tanaka, signed a loan to cover social payments, including for IPDs among ongoing war with Russia. The loan repayment period is 30 years with an interest rate of 1% per annum, including a grace period of 10 years. Data stolen in Lviv City Council cyber attack. Andriy Molka-Lysenko, first deputy mayor of Lviv, said that a cyber attack on the website of the Lviv City Council on May 13th resulted in data being stolen and published on Telegram channels linked to Russia. The European Union plans to allocate 500 million euros for military assistance to Ukraine. This money will go towards, quote, heavy weapons. They have a big heavy weapons battle in the east. We'll be going into that. I have a video ready to go of Ukrainian soldiers using American howitzers. All right, we're going to be getting an idea of that to the east in the Donbas. President Zelensky replaces the head of territorial defense forces. He appointed Major General Ihor Tantsuria to take over the Yurhi Hakalashun as commander of forces that have been a major role in helping the Ukrainian army defend the country. Prosecutors, 45 Russian soldiers involved in war crimes identified. 3 soldiers are already facing trial in Ukraine. Prosecutor General Ernia Venedivoka said a total of 11,600 war crimes have been registered. 11,600 war crimes have been registered. Wow. About a dozen buses carrying Ukrainian Azovstal servicemen leave the plant. That's the other thing too, is the Azovstal plant. The Ukrainians are reporting a mission complete, or mission accomplished at the plant. The soldiers are evacuated from the Azovstal plant in Mariupol. The governor of Kharkiv Regional Administration also said on Monday that the intensity of the shelling on the city has significantly reduced. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's. Oh, let me read that again. It's a run-on sentence. I apologize. The governor of the Kharkiv Regional Administration also said on Monday that the intensity of the shelling on the city has, quote, significantly reduced. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky stated that the time will surely come when the Ukrainian people fully force Russia to recognize reality, warning Russia was, quote, at a dead end, as Ukraine holds off Russian offenses in several areas of the country, including to the northeast in Kharkiv. So, if you guys want to look at our map now, we take a look here. The dark areas now are territories liberated from Russian forces. So if you notice, these kind of dark bluish areas now they used to be red, and they just started including this on our map, so you can see where they used to have a foothold, the Russian soldiers. So if you guys do look at the map, the blue marks on the map are air raid sirens or happenings within Ukraine. These are typically air raid sirens. You just click on one, Donetsk Oblast, red alert. Ravine, Lviv. How do you guys like being able to see the entire screen without me in the chat blocking any of it? When we watch a video now too, look at this. You guys will be able to see the entire video now without me blocking like a portion of it anymore. I spent some time looking up how to do it properly, so you guys will see the full thing without me blocking important things. So all of these blue markers are air raid sirens. Okay, so let's move down to Odessa. Looks like there's been a few strikes near Odessa. This is a southwestern port city. You like that much better? Figured you guys would like that. Explosions audible in Odessa. Preliminary air defense is working from a day ago. Let's get a this is from a day ago. Let's get a translation really quick though. Explosions are heard in Odessa. No alarm was raised. Preliminary work of air defense. This was okay, a day ago. So just getting raw reporting from the Telegram channel. That's what the sources are. These sources are people that live in the town, and then they post to Telegram, and then that Telegram gets sent up through the chain, and they use Telegram to put important information out. They being the government officials of Ukraine, like the mayors, the governors, the president. Zelensky uses it. Let's check this one. Smoke visible in Belgorod, Dnipropetrovsk after a missile strike. Odessa. Smoke can be seen in the Belgorod Donetsk district of Odessa region. City council, stay in the shelter. The information is being clarified. So that's just translating some of the Telegram updates, so that way you get the source from these geolocated notifications. Russian strategic aviation launched missile strikes against the Odessa region, including a tourism infrastructure and damaged bridge over Dnipropetrovsk estuary. 3 wounded, including a child. All right, let's get this whole thing translated here so you can get the real words. You updated at 2:25 p.m. reported okay in the south. As a result of missile strikes in the Odessa region by strategic aircraft, the tourist infrastructure was damaged, buildings were destroyed, and a fire broke out. Rescuers and investigative task force are working on the spot. 3 wounded, including a child. This was 20 hours ago. So continuous. Let's look at this one. Ukrainian air defense shot down a KH-type missile launched towards Odessa by a Russian jet fighter. Hey, everybody, like the video if you guys haven't. Again, comment where you're tuned in from. What city, what state, where in the world are you watching from? I'm Andrew Mercado. I'm streaming from Minnesota. On May 16th, the Ukrainian military destroyed a Russian X-type missile fired from a Russian jet flying in the direction of Odessa. No picture. All right, again, that's Odessa. We're going to work our way over to Mykolaiv. There's been some updates here. They had an aerial threat 3 hours ago. 19 hours ago, the Russian army shelled Mykolaiv with multiple launched rocket systems, 1 wounded. We got Florida tuned in. Thank you so much. Easel Cat, how you doing? Welcome. We got Ontario, Canada. It's good to see you. Welcome back. We got, who else? We got Leicester, United Kingdom. Good to see you. Alberta, Canada. Alma, Michigan. Good to have you. Good to be able to go live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm sorry that it glitched again in the beginning. It scared me for a sec because I swear to God, we were live watching that nonsense trial all day and had no problems. And if it messes with the Ukraine stream when we're trying to cover, you know what I mean? It's not like the Johnny Depp trial and Amber Heard trial isn't news, but like, you know what I mean? There's a big difference between our reporting and investigating this war and the ramifications that it's having in the world and the nonsense from the trial. And I'd be very upset if the trial streams are solid and these are rough. So if you guys notice any lag or anything like that to the stream, just comment and let me know right away, and I'll try to fix it as fast as I can. Welcome, Baltimore. Good to see you. Welcome, Hudson, Wisconsin. All right, so Russian army shelled Mykolaiv with multiple launch rocket systems, 1 wounded. Let's look at the other report here. Heavy missile strike in Mykolaiv. Chicago tuned in. Welcome. Well, we got a video. This is in the town of Mykolaiv, Ukraine.
Возле жилых домов, девятиэтажки.
А как давно?
Да вот это минут 5 назад. Смотри.
So you'll notice the blurring. If you haven't tuned in lately, or if this is your first stream, the blurring in some of these videos is for operational security reasons. So that, because Russia, obviously, this is open source information. I mean, it's social media. So in a war, your enemy is able to access this just as easy as we are as a third party, if you will. So the blurring is to prevent Russia from seeing, where the missiles hit. If they hit their target, if it was accurate, and then it makes it harder for them to see that. So that's why there's blurring now in some of these videos. Operational security just makes it difficult. They can't fire and adjust their artillery if the video is blurred. All right, let's go to southeast Mykolaiv. At South South Ba direction, Russian military shelled Oleksandrivka, Shenivikov, and Novoazovsk. General Staff from the Armed Forces of Ukraine. That's a lot of OVOVOs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 OVOVOs. Novoazovka. I think that was the closest I got on that one. As you guys can see, some of the territory around the Kyrgyzstan region has been liberated. The territory is liberated from Russian forces, so to the north and to the west of Kyrgyzstan, Russian forces had all of this dark grayish territory under occupied control. Let's check this out. Oh, these are the same two reports. Okay, we're gonna go down to Kyrgyzstan now. Explosions now audible in Kyrgyzstan 19 hours ago. Ukrainian armed forces destroyed Russian ammunition storages near Izium in the Kyrgyzstan region. Telegram updates. The armed forces of Ukraine destroyed ammunition depots in the Izium region as well as the Kyrgyzstan region, straight from the General Staff of Ukraine. That was 10 hours ago. Oh, it took us, so again, Izium and Kyrgyzstan. So these two updates belong to the same. Thank you, Evie. Thank you for all you do, Andrew. Thank you so much for becoming a member and being a member for 19 months. So this update, and this one down here in Kyrgyzstan are the same. Ukrainian armed forces destroyed a Russian ammunition, multiple Russian ammunition storages if it's in multiple locations. All right. Let's go northeast of Kyrgyzstan. We're just working our way counterclockwise around the country of Ukraine. As you guys, I mean, there's updates every day. As soon as we get to the Donbas, there's been a whole bunch of activity over here. So northeast of Kyrgyzstan. Ukrainian combat aviation destroyed a crossing over Inglets River. Destroyed a crossing over Inglets River. Air Force strike aircraft 3CY destroyed the Muscovites crossing of Inglets. Let's see what this is about quick. It's written in Ukrainian. Shock aircraft of the Air Force of the Armed Forces destroyed the crossing of Muscovites through Inglets. Anti-aircraft forces landed Ka-52 and Mi-28 helicopters. As a result, on Sunday, May 15th, this was Sunday, Ukrainian air defenses hit 11 air targets in the Russian occupiers. This is reported in the command of the Air Force of the Armed Forces. In addition to destroying Russian aircraft and missiles, the Armed Forces strike aircraft also attacked the occupiers' water crossing in the Inglets River. I'm wondering if that's that convoy that got destroyed that was trying to cross. I have a video of that. We'll get to that. Ukrainian troops pinned down. I have one. There is a video. Might be with Rob's coverage, Rob Lee. If you guys have the video of the convoy that got destroyed trying to cross the river too, send that to our Discord server and I'll pull it up. It should be in my queue though. Let's look at Kryvyi Rih. That's again a little bit further northeast of Kyrgyzstan. Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, red alert, aerial threat, siren sounding, take cover. So these three blue markers are the same, or for the same reason. Aerial threat, take cover. At the south butt direction, Russian military shelled all. Okay, that's from the shelling update with the OVOVO city, Novoazovsk. I'm getting close. Novoazovsk. At Zaporizhia and Novopavlivka direction, Russian army shelled Vremivka and Novosilka, Mala Tokmachka and Novoandriivka. Conducted airstrike on Malnivka village. General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Man, some of these cities are tough. Tough to say. Doing the best I can. The translator is not good. The Google Translate on here does not translate well. All right, here's the Azovstal plant. General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Mariupol garrison has accomplished their mission. Mariupol garrison performs completed combat task. Near Severodonetsk, Russian forces suffer losses in attack near Borovitsky. Near Adivka, hostilities towards Suka, Balka, and Bakhmut directions. Attacks near Toshivka. Oh my God. Pilpichatny, and suffered losses near Hertsky and withdraw. So the Russian forces suffer losses in an attack. And they also suffered losses, so they suffered losses in multiple directions. To summarize that. Mariupol, Advika, Toretsk, Soledar, Zelinsk, Bakhmut, New York, Dubrovka, and Bakhmutsky were attacked by air bombs, air-to-surface missiles, Grad, and Tornado multiple rocket launchers. 17 hours ago. So let's look at an article here that I found on Reuters that I had ready to go on the Ukraine ending the mission to defend the Azovstal steel plant. So here's the Azovstal steel plant on our map. Here's a satellite image of it. If you haven't seen it to this point, again, this is in the southeastern port city of Mariupol. And the civilians, both the women, children, and the elderly, have been evacuated for a couple weeks now. The remaining civilians in that plant are fully evacuated. It was just the soldiers left. So I'm going to read this article on from Reuters. Ukraine ends mission to defend Azovstal plant. Ukraine's military command said in the early hours on Tuesday that the mission to defend the besieged Azovstal plant by the, quote, heroes of our time in the strategic southern port city of Mariupol is over and pledged to rescue servicemen still trapped inside. The Mariupol garrison has fulfilled its combat mission, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said in a statement. The Supreme Military Command ordered the commanders of the units at Azovstal to save the lives of the personnel. Defenders of Mariupol are the heroes of our time. You think they made this move just again to try to save as many soldiers as they could? A total of 50. I mean, the fact that they got all the civilians out and they were able to do that, and it was just the soldiers left, that does warrant a mission accomplished to get all of those civilians out, in my opinion. What do you guys think? Comment in the chat. A total of 53 injured servicemen were evacuated to a hospital in Novoazovsk, east of Mariupol, on Monday, and a further 211 were taken to another point, Ukraine's deputy defense minister said. 5 buses and an armored personnel carrier carrying the servicemen arrived late Monday in Novoazovsk, and some of the evacuees were carried out on stretchers into a hospital, a Reuters witness said. Novoazovsk is now under the control of Russia-backed separatists who have held parts of eastern Ukraine since 2014. Let's look and see where this is exactly. Let's look and see where it is. Be in Donetsk. So this is where they were brought. This is they're still in Russian controlled territory, so it's not like they're in the hands of Ukraine. So here's the, I'll try to do it both on the screen. So here's the Azovstal plant in Mariupol, and then they brought them here. I'll zoom out so you get a red marker. There you go. Mariupol, and then the city is named Novoazovsk. Novoazovsk. Okay. Since Russia launched its invasion in February, Mariupol's devastation has become a symbol of both Ukraine's ability to withstand Russia's invasion and of Russia's willingness to devastate Ukrainian cities that hold out. Azovstal's last defenders have been holding out for weeks in bunkers and tunnels built deep underground to withstand nuclear war. Civilians were evacuated from inside of the plant, one of the largest metallurgical facilities in Europe, earlier this month. Efforts to rescue defenders who remain on the territory of Azovstal continue, the military said. There have been no immediate response from Moscow authorities to the developments in Azovstal. Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky said in his nightly video address called Monday a, quote, difficult day. Ukraine needs Ukrainian heroes alive. This is our principle. I think that every reasonable person will understand these words. The work continues to bring the boys home, and this work needs delicacy and time. Here's some photos. Let's make this big. A wounded service member of Ukrainian forces from the besieged Azovstal steel mill in Mariupol is on a transport on a stretcher of a bus which arrived under the escort of the pro-Russian military in the course of Ukraine-Russia conflict. Novoazovsk, Ukraine, May 16, 2022. A bus carrying wounded service members of Ukrainian forces from the besieged Azovstal steel mill in Mariupol derives under the escort of pro-Russian military in the course of Ukraine-Russia conflict upon arrival in Novoazovsk, Ukraine on May 16th. This is from Reuters. Photo credit to Alexander Ermachenko. You can see the Z on the bus. So Ukrainian soldiers being taken to Russian-controlled hospitals. A wounded service member of Ukrainian forces from the besieged Azovstal steel mill in Mariupol is transported on a stretcher out of a bus which arrived under the escort of pro-Russian military in the course of the Ukraine-Russia conflict in Novoazovsk. Again, from Alexander Ermachenko. And then the video, this is a video. And it's a still image. Shows buses carrying service members of Ukrainian forces from the besieged Azovstal steel mill in Mariupol which arrived under the escort of a pro-Russian military. There's the buses. And that's the end of the photos. From Mariupol. Let's work our way up into the Donbas region. So that is the latest with the Azovstal plant. Today, 9 civilians of the Donetsk region were killed. Head of the regional administration. 3 people killed in Lyman, 2 in Advitka, 1 in Marinka, Klinovo, Drobyshevenko. No, I did that one wrong. Drobyshevo and Yurkanarovoka. Another 6 people were injured. So 9 civilians in the Donbas region were killed. So a lot of these markers are for that. Multiple Grad and tornado strikes. That's a lot of these markers in here. A lot of the same updates. Again, this is the Donbas region. This is Luhansk and Donetsk. That's been under Russia control since 2014. These are the 2 separatist regions in the Donbas. Near Severodonetsk, Russian forces suffer losses. Near Advika. No, near Borovitsky. I think I read this one. Is this a similar? Yeah. So they lost. Russian forces suffer losses near Mariupol. And they lost them northwest of Luhansk. Russia's trying to fight and gain this entire chunk of white space in here. That is under Ukraine control. So it'd be south of Izium. They want to connect the whole Donbas over. They want to connect the entire Donbas. So they're fighting heavy in here. Big howitzer artillery battles. And again, we'll be going through that. We'll be going through all of the footage of the howitzers in a minute once we get around the map. So these are some of the updates we've read already, just multiple cities. Let's get to Kramatorsk. And there's a big boom, that was a day ago. Red smoke near Kramatorsk after a Russian shelling. This was 15 hours ago. Got some video. You can see red smoke in the air in Kramatorsk a day ago. Trevor, thank you so much for subscribing. Ivan, thank you for subscribing. Johnny, Yuma, we got Hayden for subscribing. Thank you to everybody that is subscribing and following the page. Red smoke. All right, that was Kramatorsk. Working our way towards the northeast Donbas. Russian army shelled a warehouse with ammonium nitrate in the Kharkiv region. Smoke visible from Kramatorsk. This was 14 hours ago. So it was an ammonium nitrate stockpile. Tim, thank you so much for subscribing. Tim B, thank you. That was a specific target. Don't need to use chemical weapons if you just hit the chemical facilities. That's Vladimir Putin's thinking. Just hit the chemical plants. Don't even need to use chemical weapons. Well, they do, but that's how they're getting around it. Illumination flares visible from Belgorod near the border. Now we're getting up towards Kharkiv. And again, as you guys can see, all around Kharkiv, the Russian forces have been, territories have been liberated. There's one pocket left, and it looks like they're trying to cut the soldiers here on the border with Belgorod and Kharkiv. Again, this is Russia right here. Belgorod is a city in Russia. Looks like they're attempting to cut them off. So you got flares in Belgorod. The Telegram videos don't go full screen no matter what. I've tried everything. They just do not go. And there's been back and forth with Belgrade in Russia and activity there for weeks. Belgrade governors on Telegram all the time. We got $20 super chat. Thank you for this. Thank you, Martin. Thank you so much for supporting independent media. So again, if you guys are just tuned in, this is the map of Ukraine. The red space on the map is Russia-controlled territories, Russia-occupied territory. You got Crimea here to the south, which Russia has had since 2014. You have Luhansk and Donetsk, which are the two separatist cities in the Donbas, and the red space that doesn't have a dark red line around it is territory that Russia has acquired since the invasion has begun. The blue, or the gray, if you will, is all territory Russia gained during the invasion and then lost. So these are now considered liberated areas because up there was red up here. Who was tuned into the stream when there was red all up here? It wasn't looking good. I mean, look at how close they were to Kyiv. Here's the capital city. They were, and this doesn't even show that they were right down the street. Here's the zoo. The Russian forces got, so here's where we were watching all of the live streams. When the war started, all the live streams were in here. And the Russians got as far as here in the city. And then the Ukrainian forces pushed them back. They got as far as the zoo. And they got pushed back into Bucha, Irpin. And then the convoys consistently failed and were ambushed trying to get through Brovary. They failed to the east. They failed to the northwest. It was a failure. All right, so that's the map update. Let's work on the next update, which is Turkey. There's two updates here. One, Sweden is joining NATO, or they're going to apply to join NATO. Finland put their application in last week. Sweden's joining. They're going to do the same thing. There is a process. It's not like they apply to NATO and then they're accepted right away. All of the countries that are a part of NATO have to vote them in, and it has to be unanimous. So Turkey is objecting to that, which is obviously a huge problem because, again, it needs to be unanimous. Turkey objects as Sweden and Finland seek NATO membership. From Stockholm, Turkey's president on Monday complicated Sweden and Finland's historic bid to join NATO, saying he cannot allow them to become members of the alliance because their perceived inaction against exiled Kurdish militants. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan doubled down on comments last week indicating that the two Nordic countries' path to NATO would be anything but smooth. All 30 NATO countries must agree to open the door to new members. Again, this article from Associated Press from Carl Ritter. Erdogan spoke to reporters just hours after Sweden joined Finland in announcing it would seek NATO membership in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, ending more than 200 years of non-military alignment. 200 years of military non-alignment. He accused the two countries of refusing to extradite terrorists wanted by his country. Neither country has open, clear stance against terrorist organizations, Erdogan said, in an apparent reference to the Kurdish militant groups such as banned Kurdistan Workers' Party, or the PKK. Swedish officials said they would dispatch a team of diplomats to Ankara to discuss the matter, but Erdogan suggested they were wasting their time. Are they coming to try to convince us? Don't wear yourselves out, Erdogan said. During this process, we cannot say yes to those who impose sanctions on Turkey on joining NATO, which is a security organization. Sweden has welcomed hundreds of thousands of refugees from the Middle East in recent decades, including ethnic Kurds from Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. Turkey's objections took many Western officials by surprise. Why though? Turkey plays both sides. They're fence sitters. Some had impression of Ankara would not let the issue spoil the NATO expansion. Like they want some of Russia, they want their pocket, they want their hand in Russia's pocket, and they want their hand in NATO's pocket at the same time. It's gonna be interesting what's gonna happen. NATO Security General Jens Stoltenberg over the weekend said Turkey has made it clear that their intention is not to block membership. Not a doublespeak in politics. It drives me nuts. In Washington, Swedish Ambassador Karen Olofsdotter was among those who said they were taken aback by Turkey's objections. We have a strong anti-terrorist agenda, and a lot of almost accusations that are coming out are simply not true. Sweden decided Monday to seek NATO membership a day after the country's governing Social Democratic Party endorsed a plan for the country to join the Transatlantic Alliance, and Finland's government announced that it would seek to join NATO. Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson warned that the Nordic country would be in a vulnerable position during the application period and urged her fellow citizens to brace themselves for the Russian response. What do you guys think the Russian response is going to be? And we're going to go into it. Vladimir Putin did provide one, but I want to know what you guys think before we play that. Moscow repeatedly warned Finland, which shares a 1,340 kilometer, 830 mile for us Americans. Here's the border of Finland and Russia on the map. Very important to know geography. A lot of breaking through misinformation is just understanding where things are. So here's Finland and Sweden. Russia right next to it. Finland has the biggest border with Russia. So here's that 830 miles. Right there. Where are we at? Moscow has repeatedly warned Finland, which shares a 1,340 kilometer, 830 mile border with Russia and Sweden, of repercussions should they pursue NATO membership. But Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday seemed to downplay the significance of their move. I feel he double spoke. Let's just watch that right now. So this is Vladimir Putin on the. They have no problem with Sweden or Finland, but he also says that it's gonna require a response. Listen for yourself.
Что касается расширения, в том числе за счет новых членов Альянса, Финляндия, Швеция, у России, хотел бы вас проинформировать, уважаемые коллеги, нет проблем с этими государствами. Нет. И поэтому в этом смысле непосредственной угрозы для нас расширение за счет этих стран для России не создается. Но расширение военной инфраструктуры на эту территорию, безусловно, вызовет нашу ответную реакцию. И какой она будет, мы будем смотреть, исходя из тех угроз, которые нам будут создаваться.
It's just a lot of double speaking. It's like, you know, they're not
Финляндия, Швеция.
We have no problem with this. It's not an immediate threat, but it's going to require a response. One more time.
Что касается
As far as expansion, new members, Finland and Sweden included.
расширения, в том числе за счет новых членов Альянса, Финляндия, Швеция, у России.
Russia, I would like to remind you, dear colleagues, doesn't have any problem with those countries.
Хотел бы вас проинформировать, уважаемые коллеги, нет проблем с этими государствами. Нет. И поэтому в этом смысле.
Therefore, there is not an immediate threat to Russia with the inclusion of those countries.
Непосредственной угрозы для нас расширение за счет этих стран.
Saying that to try to show strength. Which, in my opinion, this backfires on him. But the expansion of military infrastructure over that territory will obviously call for our response. So he's double speaking. He's saying two things right now.
Но расширение военной инфраструктуры на эту территорию, безусловно, вызовет нашу.
And we will determine what that response is based on the threats created.
Ответную реакцию. И какой она будет, мы будем смотреть, исходя из тех угроз, которые нам будут создаваться.
And right now, the quote unquote threats is Sweden and Finland joining NATO, which they can do. And the president of Finland came out and told Vladimir Putin, if he wants to know the reason for why Finland and Sweden are joining, that he needs to look in the mirror. And Vladimir Putin lives in a different world. He lives in a completely He doesn't live in reality. Andersson, who leads the center-left Social Democrats in Sweden, would hand in its NATO application jointly with Finland. Flanked by opposition leader Ulf Kristersson, Andersson said her government was also preparing a bill that would allow Sweden to receive military assistance from other nations in case of an attack. The United States and the United Kingdom have already said that they would assist if Russia makes a move before the application gets accepted or before the vote happens. There's already security guarantees from both the United Kingdom and the United States. Once a regional military power, Sweden has avoided military alliances since the end of the Napoleonic Wars. Like Finland, it remained neutral throughout the Cold War, but formed closer relations with NATO after the 1991 Soviet collapse. They no longer see themselves as neutral after joining the European Union in 1995, but have remained non-aligned militarily until now. After being firmly against NATO membership for decades, public opinion in both countries shifted following Russia's February 24th invasion of Ukraine, with record levels of support for joining the alliance. The Swedish and Finnish governments swiftly initiated discussions across political parties about NATO membership and reached out to the US, Britain, Germany, and other NATO countries for their support. These are all the countries that have joined NATO. 1949 countries. 1950 to 1959, that'd be Germany, Turkey, Greece. What was it? 1949 would be France, United Kingdom, Iceland, Norway, Denmark, Italy, France, Portugal. Then you got 1980 to 1989. That would be Spain. That's it. 1990s, you got Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary. And then the 2000s, you got, so it's like every decade there's been more and more countries joining NATO, damn near. And they're all along Russia's border. And Russia continues to invade, trying to make the Soviet Union great again. On Sunday, Andersson's party reversed their long-standing position that Sweden must remain non-aligned, giving NATO membership overwhelming support in parliament. Only the small left and Green parties objected when the issue was discussed by lawmakers on Monday. So that's the latest in Turkey objects as Sweden and Finland seek NATO membership. I swear there was a video on this. That's the Prime Minister. Magnula Andersson, Swedish Prime Minister on the right in these photos. That's the President of Finland, Sauli Niinistö, sharing a word with Mitch McConnell. That's probably the last person you want to talk to. Prepare to meet with Swedish media at the Grand Hotel in Stockholm on May 5th. This was on May 15th. So here's a report from the Wall Street Journal. They did an amazing report here, so full credit. How Sweden and Finland would transform NATO's military capabilities. This is a really good piece here. So we're going to be watching this again. Like the video. I'll share this video into our Discord server. Credit to the Wall Street Journal for this one.
Both NATO and Russia have eyes on this Swedish island. Once inhabited by Vikings in as early as the 8th century, this piece of land is of strategic importance. That's because it's located in the center of the Baltic Sea and is on NATO's European front line. But it's also the only waterway where Russia has direct access to the west. Gotland is just one small part of how NATO could benefit if Sweden and Finland become members of the bloc. Both nations have said they will take steps to apply for membership of the Western Military Alliance.
It is a very significant shift. These are two countries that have sought to take a position of military non-alignment.
Finnish and Swedish membership in NATO would greatly enhance the defense of the Baltic region and reduce the chances of Russian adventurism or attack across the air, land, and sea domains in an integrated fashion.
Analysts say the expansion of the bloc could make NATO stronger and affect Russia's current strategy in Ukraine. To understand how, we need to look at the geography and military capabilities of both countries. The location of both Sweden and Finland would mean the alliance has significantly more land in the east of Europe. Take Finland, for example. It has an 830-mile-long border with Russia, but if we look a little closer, we can see that this border is full of lakes and marshland with very few roads for military vehicles such as tanks to travel on.
That's important to know.
Analysts say those conditions would be beneficial for NATO in any potential combat situation with Russia.
From a NATO point of view, it's a huge opportunity. So you think about combat in Ukraine over by Kiev, where Russia was trying to push down really narrow roads. That's Finland.
One key area for Russia is the Kola Peninsula, where Moscow houses sub-launched ballistic missiles that are key to its nuclear arsenal. Currently, the only NATO country bordering the zone is Norway. But analysts say if Finland joins the bloc, it would increase pressure on the region.
Yeah.
So
you'd have
suddenly
both
if
of them
Finland's having an exercise up here, it's not just Norwegian forces, maybe a brigade or two. Now suddenly it might be 50,000 troops. So again, Russia has to now divert troops up there.
In Sweden, Gotland is strategic for Russia because it could be a base to protect its naval forces in the Baltic Sea.
I'm putting a poll in both chats right now. Do you support Sweden and Finland joining NATO? Yes, no, or unsure?
And they would use that as a base of operations for amphibious assault, for land attack, for air attack, and for naval attack.
In 2017, NATO and Sweden worked together on a simulated mission of a Baltic Sea attack, which Al Burke said concluded the island would be a central part of any invading strategy. Although Finland and Sweden have been close NATO partners for decades and worked on such joint missions, they have remained militarily non-aligned. For centuries, Sweden has largely avoided involvement in military conflicts, while Finland stayed out of NATO after the alliance formed in 1949, largely to avoid provoking Russia.
So the fact that they are deciding now to potentially join the alliance, I think is very significant and speaks to the sense of vulnerability that countries feel in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Russia's invasions of Georgia in 2008 and Crimea in 2014 sounded alarm bells in both nations, but the current war pushed them to reconsider NATO membership. In response, Russia, which has long stood against any eastward expansion of the bloc, has issued threats.
Is there ever going to be a moment? Is there ever? Probably not, huh? Probably not. There's never going to be a moment of reflection like, dang, we are the reason for these countries joining NATO. And nobody, again, like the president of Finland said, look in the mirror for the reason why.
Russian President Vladimir Putin told the Finnish president that ending the country's decades-long non-aligned defense policy would be a mistake for Helsinki. And Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Grushko said that Moscow would need to take adequate precautionary measures if NATO were to deploy infrastructure for nuclear weapons near Russia's borders, including in Finland.
I think one of the reasons that we saw the invasion of Ukraine is because they are not a member of NATO, and that, Russia felt that they could therefore take the action they did without incurring a direct response from NATO. And so I think that is something that will be playing into Moscow's strategic calculus, that once these states are, if they become members of NATO, then it will have to take more indirect action.
The addition of Finland and Sweden to NATO would also enhance some of the bloc's shortfalls in air defense, according to Al Burke.
They do not have sufficient vehicle-mounted air defense systems. NATO air defenses, especially in the east, are very, very weak. And again, this is a huge capability shortfall that NATO is attempting to address.
Sweden's advanced purchases of air-launched cruise missiles and Finland's $9.4 billion purchase of 64 cutting-edge US F-35 fighter jets would significantly improve NATO's air defense and attack capabilities. And it could require Russia to add countermeasures to that potential threat, analysts say, spreading its resources thin while trying to establish air dominance. But some analysts also believe that the introduction of Sweden and Finland into the bloc could fit into a broader plan by Russian President Vladimir Putin to realign his forces to different regions.
I think Russia thought a long time ago that Finland and Sweden would end up joining NATO. I think it helps Putin in terms of his messaging that NATO is scary, so that he can divert resources from human development in Russia towards military
That's a gamble, though. It's true. I don't not disagree with his analysis at the end. A part of me believes that too. That he knew that his actions would cause this to happen, and then rally his people around the self-fulfilling prophecy that he's been telling of the new world order, and the deep, again, all that rhetoric, the deep state rhetoric shit comes from Russia, and it's about NATO growing because Russia can't get these countries anymore, and they're joining NATO, so they need to create this big bad scary narrative of NATO, and that's what they pound. That's the propaganda that they pound to their people, and so in a way, I mean, that's such a gamble though, and I think it's backfiring on them. I don't not disagree with that analysis at the end. What do you guys think? Do you think that Vladimir Putin knew that, or his actions were directing Sweden and Finland into NATO, knowing that like the prophecy he's been telling his people and people that believe what he's saying, so not just the Russian people, because it does affect other countries as well, including United States. Do you think that it was intentional? Now the prophecy that he's been saying is in a sense coming true. Here's a video. Sweden's plans for NATO membership hit snag as Turkey says no, from Reuters. Get some audio.
Mr. Speaker, I want to be clear that an application won't be without consequences. Our vulnerability for external threats and efforts to influence will be heightened until Swedish membership comes into effect. Several measures to increase military preparedness have been taken. From the Russian side, threatening statements have been made, and Sweden categorically rejects these threats. Our security policy is a matter for Sweden and nobody else. Despite the fact that non-alignment has served us well in over 200 years, my assessment is that it won't serve us as well in the future. It is the government's hope to come to the broadest possible support for the security choice that I have now explained. We have a historic choice ahead of us, and I'm convinced Sweden is ready to make those decisions that are necessary when reality changes, to strengthen our security, but also for our world. There is so much in Sweden that is worth defending, and Sweden is best defended within NATO.
So that's straight from the Swedish Prime Minister. Sweden will formally apply for NATO membership in the next few days, Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson said on Monday, but its ascension process out of Finland hit a snag when NATO member Turkey's president said he would not approve of either bid. Sweden and Finland need each of NATO's 30 members to approve their applications. The ratification process has been expected to take up to a year, though Turkey's objections have been thrown. Oh my God, I'm having a tough time reading tonight, apparently. Though Turkey's objections have thrown that into doubt. Words are getting misplaced. I have that problem sometimes, y'all. At a news conference, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan said Sweden and Finland would not bother sending delegations to Ankara to persuade Turkey to support for their bids. Neither of these countries have a clear, open attitude towards terrorist organizations, Erdogan said. How can we trust them? He called Sweden a hatchery for terrorist organizations with terrorists in parliament. What's that about? Erdogan said Swedish-Finnish delegations should not bother coming to Turkey. Turkish President Erdogan said on Monday that Swedish and Finnish delegations should not bother coming to Ankara to convince it to approve their NATO bid. Sweden's government has formally decided to apply for NATO membership, Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson said on Monday, a day after Finnish President Sauli Niinistö confirmed on Helsinki will also apply for membership. Turkey surprised its NATO allies last week by saying it would not view their applications positively, mainly citing the history of hosting members of groups Ankara deems as terrorists. In a news conference on Monday, Erdogan repeated that Turkey would not approve their bids to join NATO, calling Sweden a hatchery for terrorist organizations and adding that it had terrorists in its parliament. Neither of these countries have a clear, open attitude towards terrorist organizations, Erdogan said. How can we trust them? The Swedish Foreign Office said earlier on Monday that senior representatives of Sweden and Finland plan to travel to Turkey for talks to address Ankara's objections. They're coming to Turkey on Monday. Are they coming to convince us? Excuse me, but they should not tire themselves, Erdogan said about the planned visit. Erdogan said NATO would become a, quote, place where representatives of terrorist organizations are concentrated. What's his problem? Ankara said Sweden and Finland harbor people it says are linked to groups it deems terrorists, namely the Kyrgyzstan Workers' Party, militant group and followers of the Fethullah Gulen, whom Ankara accuses of orchestrating a 2016 coup attempt. So it says Sweden and Finland are harboring people that it links to groups it deems as terrorists. So the Kyrgyzstan Workers' Party, the PKK, militant group and followers of the Fethullah Gulen. Well, let me try to get this. What is that? This wasn't a part of my queue, but I want to know what this is. It's a person? Turkish Islamic scholar, preacher, and one-time opinion leader. Where'd it go? And then the Kyrgyzstan Workers' Party. Kyrgyzstan Workers' Party, or PKK, is a Kurdish militant political organization and armed guerrilla movement which historically operated throughout Kurdistan but is now primarily based in the mountainous Kurdish majority regions of southeastern Turkey and northern Iraq. The Congrad Gel was founded by Abdullah Os in 1974 as a Marxist-Leninist separatist organization and formally named the Kurdistan Workers' Party in 1978. The group composed primarily of... This is really... I gotta zoom in. The group, composed primarily of Turkish Kurds, began in 1984 its campaign of armed violence, which resulted in some 30,000 casualties. I might need to spend some more time and find a report on this. I'm pulling this up on the fly. I don't like doing that anymore because I actually need to spend time reading this. So I'll save that. I'm going to save this article and actually help me in the Discord if you guys know any video or further information on why Turkey's 2 reasons for why they're not going to allow Sweden to join NATO because of these organizations allegedly. That Sweden and Finland harbor these terrorist groups. Need to spend more time with that, but I don't want to do it on the fly. Ankara says Sweden and Finland harbor people it says are linked to groups it deems terrorists, namely the PKK and followers of Fethullah Gulen. Turkish state broadcaster TRT Haber said on Monday that Sweden and Finland had not granted approval for the reparation of 33 people that Turkey had requested. Erdogan also said Turkey would oppose NATO bids for those who impose sanctions on it. Sweden and Finland had slapped arms export embargoes on Turkey after its Syria incursion in 2019. NATO and the United States said they were confident Turkey would not hold up membership of Sweden and Finland. Diplomats said Erdogan would not be under pressure to yield as Finland and Sweden would greatly strengthen NATO in the Baltic Sea. Erdogan's spokesman said on Saturday that Turkey has not shut the door to Sweden and Finland joining NATO but wants negotiations and a clampdown on what it sees as terrorist activities. Don't. And you spend more time with that. That's why Erdogan isn't. That's why they're not gonna, or why Turkey is not going to approve groups that Turkey deems as terrorist groups. I need to spend time looking into them. So this is the grave mistake. Russia issues warning as Sweden and Finland move towards NATO. From London, Russia has reiterated its warning to Finland and Sweden over joining NATO after the neighboring Nordic countries confirmed their intentions to join the military alliance. According to Russian state news agency TASS, the Kremlin's deputy foreign minister Sergei Rybakov said that Sweden and Finland would not be making a grave mistake in joining the 30-member organization. This would be another gross mistake with far-reaching consequences, he told reporters. The fact that the security of Sweden, like that of Finland for that matter, will not be strengthened as a result of this decision is completely obvious to us. Rybakov added that it's a pity that common sense is being sacrificed to some phantom ideas about what should be done in the current situation. This is Sergei Rybakov, Russia's deputy foreign minister. He's like the Lavrov light. Both Nordic countries and embraced neutrality for decades during the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the West. But Russia's all-out invasion of Ukraine rattled its unaligned neighbors and changed their strategic calculus. This is from Nima Kavanaugh from Yahoo News. Finland shares a large 800-mile border with Russia, and both Finland and Sweden control large coastlines in the Baltic Sea. Their membership would cause the Baltic to become dominated by NATO countries, which include Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Germany, and Poland. Russia has several key ports in the region, including Kaliningrad and Russia's second-largest city, St. Petersburg. Despite Russian warnings, Finland and Sweden are barreling toward a formal NATO membership, which requires the full alliance to defend any member attacked by another country. Their Scandinavian neighbors in Norway and Denmark are already neighbor members. On Sunday, Finnish government said that it would submit an application along with President Sauli Niinistö, proclaiming that a, quote, new era is opening. A protected Finland is being born as a part of a stable, strong, and responsible Nordic region. He said at a press conference, we gain security and we also share it. It's good to keep in mind that security isn't a zero-sum game. Here's a picture of NATO's likely expansion. So the only two left over here would be Belarus and Ukraine. NATO's likely expansion, if you guys can see on your screen. All right, that is the latest with all of the Sweden and Finland joining NATO. Russia's response, Turkey saying nah because of their harboring of what Turkey deems as terrorist groups. So I'll be spending more time with that and trying to understand Turkey's position. Let's shift gears now. Shout out to our amazing veteran community. We're going to be getting into war coverage at this point, at this time. We're going to be getting into the combat clips of the day from the last 24 hours. So shout out to our veteran community. We have an amazing community of veterans that have served all across different branches of the armed forces, both in the United States and in other countries' military. So if you served, comment your branch of service, comment your years of service, and your MOS. And again, thank you to all of the veterans that do tune in. So we're going to be getting into this combat footage. Ukraine uses the new American howitzers on Russian positions. So here's an example of those M777 howitzers being used in Ukraine. They're getting fast with those now. I remember the first videos. They were moving pretty slow. Look, a week or so ago, they're moving pretty quickly now. We got Army in the chat. Thank you. 35 November. U.S. Army MP.
Armata!
18 Alpha for 18 years. Yeah, you notice they don't have the notebook in their hand no more. They already learned the -10 and everything. Oh, they're moving fast now. No sound on this part of the video. All right, so that's Ukrainian soldiers using the new American howitzers on Russian positions. They're not new. I don't know why they have new, or maybe they're new for Ukraine. They're not new at all. But all right, so here's a report: Ukrainian troops pinned down by Russian fire in a key front line. This is in the Donbas region. So if you guys look at the map here on the screen, that's all going on here. To the southeast of Izium in Lysychansk, to the northeast of Kramatorsk, in this white space region here that is not controlled by Russian forces. Here's a report from BBC News on the fighting on the ground.
Patrol with volunteer fighters of the Territorial Defence Force.
War descended suddenly upon Ukraine. Along the Eastern Front, its men may be in bunkers, but they do not cower here. 3 times in the last month, the Russians have attacked this base with infantry and tanks, and 3 times they've been repelled. Another attack may be imminent. So here they wait. Vladimir Putin has turned their days into night and taken them away from their families. But for the men of this territorial defence unit, this is now home. Above their heads hangs a constant threat. The town they've dug under is all but abandoned. Its people gone. Orphan pets have sought shelter here too. The men know it won't be long before the next attack. Above, a Russian barrage is the signal. It's time to get to work. Outside these walls, everything is in the line of fire. And these men face it daily. They need little reminder that to the north, the majority of Russia's forces are headquartered. And to the south, most of their Ukrainian comrades. Their patrols and defence along this front line keep these 2 mighty forces apart.
Damn. Incoming.
The shells start landing closer as the Russians adjust their aim. We're heading back? No.
Golly, dude.
So you get a sense of what Russia's artillery and tanks can do to Ukrainian homes. This is relentless. But the reason that these men are holding on so tight here in these defensive positions is because they simply cannot let the Russians through here. If they do, more Ukrainian troops to the south in the Donbas will be under threat. So they're hanging on for dear life here. At the front, there's no bunker, but they're armed to the teeth.
Wow, it's like an Alamo.
This is a volunteer battalion. These men were doing ordinary jobs before the war.
It's kind of like the Alamo position that they're holding down right now.
And they're facing against Russian tanks, Russian heavy artillery, indirect fire. How are they managing to hold the Russians off?
Our men, they go in combat. They fight every day by this fire. You can watch it. Because we believe that all the democratic countries, all the world, will help us. And when we will give modern weapon, these brave men, they can destroy completely Russian army.
As the day grows long, it's time to pick up the pace. On open ground, there's no safe hiding place.
Should also, like, once I do apologize, when we get into the combat footage, when we start getting into the combat updates, trigger warnings, visuals are going to be violent. There might be death. I try to avoid as much in like blatant human death as I can on the camera. Sometimes the president is asked, especially a few months ago in Bucha, the massacres that happened were played for Congress. So just again, trigger warnings, and there might be images, or there will be images of war at this time in the stream.
Pinned down, their route back is cut off by artillery fire. So through gardens and backyards, they search for an escape. The soldier calls out, "Leave this place as soon as possible." And it's here we find Natasha, stubbornly hanging on. "Do you need help leaving?" Yuri asks her.
I don't have anyone here.
But she's defiant. This war wasn't her choice. It's as if she refuses to acknowledge it, even as Russian shells soar overhead.
Let's go to her house. She invited us. Well, we can't go forward, can we?
Oh, wow.
Very close to us. Very close to us, on our way.
Yuri tries to convince her to come with us. To stay risks death.
I don't want to betray my husband.
Wow.
He's buried in the cemetery here. I won't leave him.
We try one last time. Natasha, why don't you leave here?
Because it's my home, and I have nowhere to go.
She lives alone.
Yuri implores her. "Natasha, go to a nearby town. They will help you there."
Why? I got used to it now.
He says, "We can help you. Are you ready to be evacuated?"
And if I go there, what will I do next? Off you go, guys. Thank you.
We have to leave, but Natasha's told to pack her bags. They'll come back for her when the shelling stops. Despite the onslaught, the men pushed forward.
That was one of those smirch rockets in the building. That's what that was.
Pushed forward.
Smirch rocket.
This is what stalemate sounds like on the Eastern Front, and this is what it takes to keep the gateway to the Donbas firmly shut. Quentin Somerville, BBC News, near Izum, Ukraine.
Near Izium. So that report's coming straight. He's in the middle of it. Who is that reporter? Quentin Somerville. Outstanding report. Izium. Russian controlled territory here. That is, again, big stalemate. Artillery shells. Artillery shellings. Civilians being killed. Stalemate over here. It's been like that for 8 years along this line. With Russia gaining minimal ground since the invasion began here. And Popasna, and the gains from Popasna were from the Wagner private military group. It wasn't even the Russian military that gained this city. It was their private contracted military that got that. Let's get another update. Eyewitness report from inside Kharkiv as Ukrainian troops force Russian soldiers out. This is a report from ITV News. So this is from the city of Kharkiv. That's to the northeast Donbas. As more and more villages get liberated daily in the Kharkiv Oblast. So that is the good news. That is the good news to the east of Ukraine, is that this city is getting further liberated and the villages around it are getting liberated every day. Here's an eyewitness report from inside Kharkiv as Ukrainian troops force Russian soldiers out.
This is the battle for Kharkiv, as seen by those who fought it.
Выходим, за машину!
The Kraken Battalion are taking fire near the village of Ruska Lazova.
The Kraken Battalion, that is the Special Forces unit that's comprised of a bunch of units that we've been watching their videos that they're putting together on Funker 350. It's got that Viking beat in the background. We've watched a couple of them. That's the unit that's fighting here and gaining villages.
This previously unseen footage taken last week is a window into a critical operation to reclaim territory from an enemy at the gate of Ukraine's second city.
Now that's a firefight. You guys hear how it's not quiet at all? And there's constant... I mean, we watched the Russian military videos, and when we get to Rob Lee's combat videos of the day, there will be Russian videos there. But you can hear clearly that they're engaging an enemy, and they're in a firefight. There's no doubt about it. It's not to make a video.
From an enemy at the gate of Ukraine's second city. We travelled with the Kraken unit into the same village as Russian artillery continued to hammer what's left. They've come to treat 87-year-old Ivan Gavrilovich. He knows firsthand what razor-sharp shrapnel can do to the human body. As the soldiers patch him up, he tells me how an SS officer nearly killed him in 1941.
What?
And now he's survived a Russian onslaught 8 decades later.
Wow.
He shows me his carefully tended vegetable garden, the horticulture punctuated by howitzers, which nearly killed an old man who thought he'd seen it all. Across the street, the remains of a hospital looted by the Russians as they retreated. Their parting gift thankfully didn't detonate. But Ukrainian soldiers are more certain of destroying their...
Look at it's inside of his house still, a dud. Thank you, buddy. Yes, Funker 530. Yes, I misspoke.
He didn't detonate. But Ukrainian soldiers are more certain of destroying their targets. This shows a Russian T-90M tank being taken out north of Kharkiv.
That's their Panzer tanks that have been completely useless.
Extra armour no match for Western-supplied anti-tank weapons, which are proving decisive. Normally, an invading army tries to secure bridges as it advances, but here the Russians were forced to blow one up as they fled. We travel along the deserted ring road, which marks the extent of the Russian advance. Their military misadventure here is plain to see.
Military misadventure?
И когда колонну разбивают, бывает такое, что даже остатков тела нету, потому что просто сгорает все дотла.
Drone! Drone! Then suddenly we spot a drone above the road and warn the Ukrainian soldiers.
Drone! Drone! Drone!
Russia frequently uses them to convey real-time information to pinpoint artillery and rocket attacks. Shooting them down is not easy. Our route out is blocked by an operation to put out a fire at the side of the road. Finally, we're able to leave the area, but the drone now appears to be tracking our vehicles.
Oh.
It's following us. Go, 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 go.
Go!
A few hundred meters on, we stop and see the fire brigade are leaving in haste, knowing they too could be targets. The drone is still hovering over there, and the soldiers appear to be trying to shoot it down. But that's a strategic crossroads on the ring road that goes all the way around the north of Kharkiv. And it wouldn't be surprising if the Russians are trying to assess the Ukrainian city. You see a lot of cars now fleeing back into town. These days, the centre of Kharkiv is much safer than its northern suburbs, but it still bears the scars of almost 3 months of siege. A city which stood firm even when almost encircled. The price of resistance extracted by Russian missiles is astonishing in some streets, but nowhere paid a higher price than Saltivka. The blocks of flats here face a front line which is still active, forcing the few who remain underground.
Ночью было, да.
Сегодня ночью,
Да, и сегодня, а прошлой ночью это вообще кошмар. Раз 5 или 6.
There's been shellings in this city since day one. It hasn't stopped. We're on, like, there may be like a night or two in between, but that's it. We're on 82 now. Maybe 83 for Ukraine. They've been shelled. The Kharkiv Oblast has been shelled nearly every day.
The mayor says 30% of residential buildings have been damaged in this city, most hit by Russian munitions, but some struck by the Ukrainians to force the invaders back. This is a potent symbol of Ukrainian resistance here in Kharkiv. When the Ukrainians found out that a Russian special forces unit was hiding out in this school building, they unleashed all the firepower they had. And this was the result. We find a young doctor making a video for colleagues who've seen the worst of this war. A love song to a city which survived. Kharkiv's siege is broken. Its people are not. Dan Rivers, ITV News, Kharkiv.
All right, credit to Dan Rivers from ITV. That's Kharkiv Oblast. There's a lot of college-aged individuals live there. They've had big concerts in that city of Kharkiv. All right, now let's get to Rob Lee's combat clips of the day from the last 24 hours. So here we go. Video from Yuri Butsov. Let's go ahead and do a viewer check-in first. Comment where you're tuned in from. What city, what state, where in the world you guys are watching from. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado. Welcome to Mercado Media on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you guys again so much for choosing independent news media as your source for the war in Ukraine. Tomorrow morning, early, 8 a.m. Central Time, which would be 9 a.m. Eastern, the defamation trial, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. We were covering that during the daytime and then nighttime. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights, the coverage for the war in Ukraine will be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. All right, so I know we're late. It's 11 p.m. now. I'm going to be shifting the time slot. So we're going to be 7 p.m. Central to 9 p.m. Central. That'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Monday nights will still be 9 p.m. to like 11:30ish. Monday night to 11:30, or 9 to 11:30, and then Fridays will be in the afternoon because I have softball at night. So Brisbane, Australia, Cape, Florida. Thank you so much. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Angie, Minnesota. Thank you. Midford, Iowa, upstate New York. Good to have you. Courtroom at 9, Toronto, Chico, California, Maui, San Juan Island, Duluth, Minnesota, and Palm Desert, California. Welcome. All right, let's get into it. Combat videos from Rob Lee, video from Yuri Butsov of the failed Russian crossing from the Donetsk River. So this is the column that got destroyed. They tried to cross the river and were eviscerated. There was an attempt. You can see the tank in the water. Look like a T-72 in the water. Are you in Waterloo, Iowa? Dang. I think the sound of wind whistling is perfect for this video. Evidence of the Russian failure. One second. This is your military. This is the second most powerful military in the world. Russia went down in the rankings. Here, listen to that wind whistle. The sound of failure. spark one up. Listen, that's the noise of defeat. This has been the best music track we've had on one of these. I need to do this one more often. Good night. All right, that was a long video, 2 minutes and 19 seconds. And then again, these were a video of the failed Russian crossing of Severitsky in the Donetsk River near Bilohorivka. Let's type that in. Bilohorivka on the Donetsk River. Here's the Donetsk. Yep. The Donetsk River. They tried to. Where was the crossing? Do they have the geolocated? How many attempts have there been to? How many attempts have been made? It's hard to count. Main gun tubes are not snorkel kits. Russians tried to use their tanks as snorkels. Chat. Snorkel tanks confirmed. Maybe they thought. I'm looking to see if there's a geolocation for an exact spot where this is in the river. We can continue. Comment in the Discord if you have the geolocation of this attempt here. Another video of Ukraine's SSO showing the bridge being destroyed. Oh. Showing the bridge being destroyed to hinder Russia's advance between Severodonetsk and Rubizin. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out. Dang, that's a big explosion there. Had to destroy their bridges. That was the biggest key to their victory, and why the Russians didn't get into the capital city was Ukraine destroying their own bridges during while the invasion was going. During the early days. Ukraine's SSO showing the bridge being destroyed to hinder Russia's advance. Let's continue here. Ukrainian Mi-8 helicopters reportedly in the Donbas. Person taking this video, or the soldier, I would assume, is in a trench. It's like a blend of World War I, modern warfare, trench warfare. Got a pair of shoes, tennis shoes up there. Low flying helicopters. Look at, you can see the walkways, how the walkways are made. You got pallets, so you're not getting trench foot. Try to avoid that. That was a huge problem during World War I. They didn't have pallets in the trenches. Some of these trenches have been built for 8 years now. 2014 in the Donbas. That's if it's in the Donbas, that's over here. So if that's a trench system, that's likely along this line here, somewhere in this region. To the east. Video from Azov's Dnipro forces of a UAV dropping munitions on a Russian BTR-82. Azov's Dnipro forces. So Dnipro, I'll show you where Dnipro is. Some Azov regiment in there. Oops. So Dnipro is north of Zaporizhia. There's Melitopol. So here's Dnipro. It's still to the east, but it's like in the middle of the, if you like drew a line, and it's close to the, it's in the central eastern region. Again, north of Zaporizhia, north of Melitopol, north of Crimea. Video of a T-72B tank from the DNR Somalia Battalion. What? The DNR Somalia Battalion in Advika. What is that? Hold on. The Somalia Battalion is a separatist military unit of the self-declared Donetsk People's Republic in Ukraine, which has been fighting against the armed forces in the Ukraine in the Donbas War, the 2022 Russian invasion. The battalion's full name is 1st Separate Tank Battalion Somalia, previously 1st Separate Battalion Tactical Group Somalia, according to its former commander Mikhail Tolishch, alias is Givi. The battalion took the name Somalia in honor of Somali pirates. So they're called Somalia Battalion to give credence to Somalian pirates. Got it. In Advidka, where is this? Let's get a location quick and then watch the video. It's an RT video, so it's gonna look training video-y. Here's Advika, north of Donetsk, or we call it a satellite city of Donetsk. Directly north of it. Red marker.
Который стреляет и корректирует артиллерию по городу Ясиноватой, по поселку Крутая Балка. Приняли решение вчера совместно со вторым Тербатом.
We'll fight that copyright on. Oh wow. Well, Facebook ended. Hope everybody on Facebook comes over here. We're not going to be live too much longer. But Facebook took the. That's why, dude. I told y'all we can't do anything on Facebook. The Facebook stream got taken down from that the little quiet part of the song that I played from the last video. We'll fight that and win, but the last 15-20 minutes of the stream will have to be on YouTube only. Let's continue.
Так сказать,
hopefully they all come over here.
Наказать врага за то, чтобы не кошмарил мирных жителей наших.
Чем наказываете?
Принято решение наказать их танчиком. Все по классике. Все в любимых тонах штурмового батальона. Работаем.
They're out of control with the copyright. Well, we almost made it 2 straight hours on Facebook with the war coverage. That'll be the. I'll make sure I let Facebook know next stream. Like if the stream goes down, head over to the YouTube channel because I'm not ending this. Or starting a new one. So that's a video of a T-72B tank from DNR Somalia Battalion. Self-named the Somalia Battalion to give credence to the Somalian pirates. So the Russians named themselves that. Or the Russian separatists in the Donetsk Republic. Video of Ukraine's 30th Mechanized Brigade of Artillery Strikes. Oh, if this is from the 30th Mechanized Brigade, probably gonna be music. That was correct. So we can't have nice things on Facebook. One more time. That was hype. One more time, that was hype. This is Ukraine's 30th Mechanized Brigade. Artillery strikes on Russian BTRs. So I'm not going to start another stream again. I'll just make an announcement tomorrow to let Facebook know, hey, if Facebook takes the stream down, head to the YouTube channel. We're live. Video of Ukrainian SSO Stugna P ATGM strikes on Russian armored vehicle. You can see some of the wood logs. I think those look like some of the cope logs for the sides. Some of their cope armor. A Russian what is this? A Artut BU system. Looks like with an interesting cage on there. Okay, let's figure out what this thing is. What is that, and what does it do? Who is your daddy, and what does he do? What movie is that from? Meet the Russian RT-UTBM electronic warfare system. Let's meet it then.
Meet Russian ATUT-BM electronic warfare system.
Why is the video?
Russian forces have managed to incapacitate combat drones and intercept radio networks using their latest electronic warfare systems. It alerts troops and equipment of incoming artillery fire, in case the artillery fire is equipped with proximity fuses. Electromagnetic radiation from the simulated enemy's communication systems were collected and analyzed for intelligence. The network used by the adversary was identified and blocked. The network data, location of command posts and communication centers were then forwarded to the other units for further conditional destruction, the ministry explained.
All right, so it's electronic. It's like a big. They control their drones from here. Their surveillance, their intelligence, GPS. I don't know if they have Blue Force trackers, but that's what these trucks do. They have a big truck for it. Whereas in the United States military, we just have a computer. A computer in the passenger seat does what this entire truck does. That's tough. Okay. Russian TOS-1 Alpha thermobaric MLRS in the Severodonetsk area. That truck literally does what our Blue Force tracker can do.
Я уже включил.
He's gonna fire. God dang. For a second, I thought we were watching a loop video for... Goodness. That was 1 minute and 27 seconds long for the last 3 seconds of that. Thank you. I'll turn it down a little bit. So that's their multiple launch rocket system. Russian video. TOS-1A. Thermobaric. Vacuum bombs. Another video of a Russian TOS-1 Alpha thermobaric multiple launch rocket system firing on Ukrainian positions. So that was video number 1. Here is video number 2.
Доброе утро из Луганска. С майскими праздниками.
Goodness, what is with these videos? Hold on. Let me fast forward it. I'm trying to post an update to Facebook to get them to come over to YouTube, but... Okay, another 3-minute video, so the thing fires in the last 10 seconds again. Wow, okay. Let me turn it down a little bit. Long video for what? Russian videos are trying to waste our time now. There's a lot of rockets there in that round of barrage. How many was that? 1, 2. That was 24 rockets because it was 12 times 2 rockets each. So that thing just launched 24 rockets in that video. More photos of the Russian Orlan 10 UAVs with VOG grenades. Oh. Russians trying to retrofit their Orlan 10s with okay. Oh, how do they control it from a remote? The mechanics had to remove the left side of the locking ring's base because it interferes with the grenade's fin. You can tell this was not a damaged ring because it looks clean and smooth, so it was programmed to be machined out. If you find a new piece, if you find Russian innovation somewhere, you're gonna find posts slamming it, such as the cope cages. The full video? Okay. Oh, we have a video. Here we go. This is interesting. Russian forces are using the Orlan 10 UAVs to drop VOG grenades in Ukraine. A possible indication that they lack sufficient UCAVs, loitering munitions, and PGMs. So they're making their Orlans combat.
Расчет, с которым удалось пообщаться, «Звезде» уничтожил уже 5 вражеских объектов. Специальные компактные снаряды находятся в закрытых контейнерах, которые подвешивают под крыльями «Орлана». Уникальную разработку увидел Максим Низкодубов.
Дальность полета этого ударного беспилотника 110 километров. Полный боекомплект — это 4 вот таких осколочно-фугасных снаряда, способных уничтожать автомобильную технику, минометное вооружение и живую силу.
Километров, по словам военных.
All right, let's look at the next video. The full video also mentions the Pantsir S-1 air defense systems.
В ходе спецоперации наши военнослужащие впервые применили новейшую модификацию беспилотника, который теперь может наносить высокоточные удары по земле и поражать живую силу и технику. Операторы БПЛА находят цели, сбрасывают осколочно-фугасные боеприпасы с высоты 2 километров. По словам военных, максимальное отклонение при попадании всего пары метров. Расчет, с которым удалось пообщаться, «Звезде» уничтожил уже 5 вражеских объектов. Специальные компактные снаряды находятся в закрытых контейнерах, которые подвешивают под крыльями «Орлана». Уникальную разработку увидел Максим Мерcado.
So the suicide drones that Ukraine has, they're not very large. That thing's huge. It looks like a little miniature airplane. The ones that the kamikaze drones Ukraine has are like little mortar sized. The thing looks like a
Дальность полета этого ударного беспилотника 110 километров. Полный боекомплект — это 4 вот таких осколочно-фугасных снаряда.
That thing's getting shot down.
Технику,
there's just constant pictures and video of Russian Orlan 10 UAVs just being shot down because they're just ridiculous. They're just huge.
Вооружение и живую силу противника.
Пока новые ударные дроны поражают легкую бронетехнику и живую силу ВСУ, расчеты «Панцирей» прореживают ряды вражеских беспилотников. Из-за нехватки ударных БПЛА, напомню, байрактары наши зенитчики сбивают десятками. Киев начиняет взрывчаткой старые советские аппараты «Рейс». Правда, до цели такая доработанная ракета-мишень, а по сути дрон «Камикадзе» тоже не добралась. «Панцирь» уверенно с ней справился.
I heard something about Bayraktar in there. Maybe that our drone sucks compared to the Bayraktar, but it's the best we got. I'm kidding. I don't know what it said. Russian IMR-1 Tiger M with an Arbalete DM and a T-72 tank in Mariupol 10 days ago. Wow. What is that? That's from the evacuation day from the civilians. What is that thing? Like a construction tank, or what is that? I'm guessing this would be the Arbalete DM. No, that's not it. IMR-1. Yeah, here it is. Got the log in the back of it. This is a toy version? Oh my goodness. Here's one in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. It's a combat engineering vehicle. I mean, well, here, there's ones. Okay, that doesn't help us with the current ones, but Russia's still using these. That tells you that. It's got a crane on it. Combat engineering vehicle. This is one in the Chernobyl zone, so this is in Ukraine. Video from 2015. It's got a claw arm. Said it builds bridges. We're not gonna get videos on that. Bridge builder. Video of artillery strikes from Ukrainian air assault troops on a Russian MLRS multiple launch rocket system position with a BM-21 Grad and the BM-27 Uragan MLRS and a Zoopark 1M counter battery radar. Let's go back and see that one more time. That was a direct hit. You can see it on fire. Counter battery radars, BM-21 Grad missile launcher. So they hit multiple launch rocket systems, and a Grad missile launcher, and then a Zoo Park 1M counter battery radar. Footage from mid-April of a Russian T-72 B-3 tank recovering a damaged BTR-82 in Mariupol before running over a mine. So newly released video. Have you seen this one? Oh no, haven't seen this. Okay. From that looks like that apartment zone that RT was in there making a bunch of videos. So we're back down in Mariupol. Back down in the port city of Mariupol for this one. New video from mid-April being released. Russian video. Let's check it out. There's the mine. Mine's in the bottom right corner. Just highlighted it. Another one. And it pulls it right over the mine, I'm guessing. There's another angle of it. You can see the tank we're pulling the BTR. This is the first recovery video I've seen trying to recover one of their vehicles. Tank goes back in. Oh, no, we need part two. There it is. Part two. I'm too invested at this point. Wow. What a It's gonna hit the other one too, huh? Is there more? Yep, Third part. So the tank recovers the BTR, the tank goes back, loses its tracks, and then another tank has to come and recover this tank. Does this tank then get blown up? Is this just like a chain reaction of vehicles saving one another from these mines that were likely placed by Russians for a video? Just taking turns doing... There was some artillery that whizzed by. Is he gonna hit the other one? No. Wow, the whole track came off. Look at the whole left side of the tank is just destroyed. No, these are Russians. This is all Russians. Is there a fourth part? They're at the beginning of the video. Yeah, it says it's part 4. 3, 4. Okay. Nope. No, we saw that. Next. That's the same tank. Is this music supposed to make their tanks look scary? Because if anything, it's just making me wait for them to get blown up. Like, the music is just making me wait for that.
Беттер подорвался или подбили, блядь? В этот дом можно тоже.
Oh, well, that's it. That's that lore of the Russian tank. So BTR gets blown up. A T-72 goes and recovers it. So the T-72 recovers it, pulls it out of there. T-72 goes back to engage targets. I'm not sure what it's engaging, probably buildings, and doesn't see the mines, which this one is inside of a tire apparently, or at least the video highlights a tire on the ground. And then it drives over this mine right there, and then another tank Another tank has to pull this one out. So that's what you see this in this part of the video, or in this part of the series here. Another tank has to pull the one that just pulled the BTR out because it just got blown up. And then you see it get pulled away, completely just destroyed. And this last video is actually the first part, apparently. I don't know why it was posted last, but... Alright, let's move on. That is the T-72 Tank Chronicles. Video of a DNR ATGM strike on Ukrainian positions in Pisky in the Donetsk region.
Yeah. Оп, вроде как голова.
Отлично! Полетели!
These are Stugna P videos. These are Russian, I believe.
Хорошо! Отлично!
Strikes on Ukrainian positions in Pisky, Donetsk. Alright. Video of artillery strikes from Ukraine's 28th Mechanized Brigade on a Russian 2 S-34 in the Kosta artillery position. You can see him running. Ukraine's 28th Mechanized Brigade on Russian targets. So that's the 29th Mechanized Brigade. Video from strikes from Ukraine's 59th Motorized Brigade on a Russian military column. It looks like at least one vehicle was destroyed. Oh man, it was starting to go. It was about to start getting wild. Got the same type of comments. Let me see this. You'd be shocked that they are hiding from you. Nobody's hiding anything. There's nothing being hidden, but you can find out for yourself what the local residents of listen, the residents of Mariupol, like the Russians put them in that position. If Russia didn't invade Ukraine, there wouldn't be civilians dying. It's like that just conveniently gets forgot. To like fit a narrative. Here, watch this video of Ukraine destroying Russian military vehicles and cope harder. That's all you can do. Just keep watching the destruction and cope. Alright, next video. Destroyed Rosgavirda Earl federal truck. I can on YouTube because I turned the monetization off. YouTube will put the music and just list it in the description later. YouTube is much better with this. It's why I do that. I've been doing this on YouTube for so long. Facebook will take your stream down. Like for example, that's why I was looking down at my phone for a couple minutes. I was disputing the copyright claims on Facebook, and now the stream's back up. But Facebook will end your video while you're live, and you'll have to start a new one. And I'm not doing that. YouTube will keep your stream up the entire time. Afterwards, like you can choose to mute the video. You can actually trim the song out or like mute the song. YouTube knows what they're doing with that part in terms of the copyright system. Or I guess like not the manual copyrights. YouTube sucks, allowing CBS and like Paramount to get around YouTube's copyright systems. But you got to manually do it. The only copyright system, I guess, praise I will give YouTube is that YouTube doesn't take your video down while you're live. All right, it's got to be like I'd have to be sitting here playing only the song, like repurposing just the song and nothing else, or like, you know what I mean? It'd have to be like egregious for YouTube to end the video while I'm live. Facebook just doesn't care. They're savage. But the video, if you guys came from Facebook, the live stream that you guys were watching is already back up. It's posted on the page. It just, the ending will be here on YouTube. Ukrainian crews with M7, we saw that video. An Orlan 10 UAV footage showing strikes on Ukrainian positions. This is from an Orlan 10 UAV. All right, I'm just gonna do, let me see here, video, just one more, and then let me see, I think this is, I only have a couple more left. All right, 2 more videos, and then we'll wrap up for the night, and then I'll be back live again tomorrow evening, tomorrow during the daytime, and then tomorrow evening for the war coverage. Video of Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions around Zolote. Sure, I said that wrong. Zolote. Multiple strikes. Those are all, that spread is all over the place. Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions. Wow, that was close. That's the clean then, okay. There was a strike on the bunker afterwards too. Video of DNR Rus battalion fighters firing a SPG-9 and a DSK at Ukrainian positions in Pisky.
Бойцы батальона «Русь» ведут огонь по позициям правого сектора в поселке Пески. Выстрел! Выстрел!
Don't want to make it too loud. That's the DSK.
Бойцы батальона «Русь» ведут огонь по позициям украинских боевиков в поселке Пески. Для правого сектора это знаковое место, потому что этот поселок штурмовал лично Дмитрий Ярош. Это что-то вроде места боевой славы правосеков, поэтому бойцы батальона «Русь» стреляют по этим позициям с особым азартом.
All right, last video of the day, or last video of the stream tonight. I'm going to be live on Instagram, no gaming stream. I need to get this report done. I need to get the report from Southwest Minnesota finished and then posted. So I'm actually going to be live doing a Q&A, just chatting while I'm working. Just sitting here. I'm going to have music playing. I'm going to run outside and have a safety meeting. And then I'm going to go live on Instagram, set up the phone right here, and then edit the report together. So if you're interested in doing a chat, a live chat, we can talk about any of the current events that have been going on. I know this stream has been about Ukraine, but there's lots of current events happening around the world. And if you want to ask about it, ask my opinion about it, ask my opinion about what we're learning on the Ukraine streams, follow me on Instagram, the Guru Merc, same username as Snapchat, Twitter, all of them. All of my personal social medias are the same username. I try to keep it the same. Follow on Facebook. Make sure you guys follow or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like the video. We'll be live again at 8 a.m. Central Time with the trial. So the trial starts at 8 a.m. Central Time right here on YouTube. So if you want to watch on YouTube tomorrow, you can. Facebook, the stream won't be taken down because there won't be any music. There won't be any music played. And then the war coverage tomorrow night will be at 7 p.m. Central Time. All right, that's the new time frame from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time. All right. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful night. Follow me on Instagram. I hope to see you guys, as many of you guys over there as possible. Until next time, until tomorrow night, again, I'm Andrew Mercado from Mercado Media. Have a wonderful night. Take care.